Hello friends, myself Rasika Pakaria from Araham College. In last lecture, we were studying about the stage 3 era of challenge. अपन ने ये इवोल्यूशन ऑफ पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एज अ डिसिप्लिन चालू किया था. उसमें कुछ स्टेजेस थे. वी कंप्लीटेड फर्स्ट स्टेज, सेकंड स्टेज and then we started with the third stage, right? The main theme during this stage was the advocacy of human relational behavioral approach to the study of public administration, right? It was argued that administration cannot be separate from political. ये भी हो गया था क्या? नेक्स्ट. हाँ, where we were. हाँ, it was argued that administration cannot be separated from politics because of its political nature and political role. Administration is not only concerned with implementation of political policy decision but also plays an important role in policy formulation, which is domain of politics. Hence, they were dubbed as proverb and neutralized falsies. Moreover, the principal approach to organizational analysis was criticized as a mechanism approach due to its emphasis on the formal structure of organization and neglects the socio or psychological aspect of organizational behavior. The Hawthorne studies conducted under the leadership of Ilthon Mayo shook the foundation of principal approach to organizational analysis by demonstrating the role of informal organization. Then the important publication of this stage which challenged the classical public administrations were a C1 Bamberg, the functions of the executive, F Morton's Marx, elements of public administration, Herbert A. Simon, the proverb of administration, then Robert Dahl, the science of public administration, three problems, and Dwight Waldo, the administrative state. Herbert A. Simon was the most important centric of principles of administration and described as proverb. He advocated the behavioral approach to public administration to make it a more scientific discipline. To quote Simon, if any theory is involved, it is that decision making is the heart of administration and that the vocabulary of administration theory must be derived from the logic and psychology of human choice. Simon rejected the idea of political administration dichotomy and recommended an imperial approach to the study of public administration. And then administrative behavior pleaded for the raising of scientific vigor in public administration. Then there were three problems in that. First one is there is a frequent impossibility of excluding normative consideration from the problem of public administration. Then the need to study certain aspect of human behavior limits the potentiality of the science of public administration. He criticized the existing tendency to treat the organization in formal technique terms and to regard human beings that constitute organization as more or less material, the unscientific nature of principle of administration, which are posed on few examples are drawn from the limited national and historical setting. Then Robert Dale observed, we are a long way from science of public administration. No science of public administration is possible unless the place of normative value is made clear. The nature of man in the area of public administration is better understood and his conduct is more predictable. Third is there is a body of comparative studies from which it may be possible to discover principle and uh, generalize that transcend transactional boundaries and peculiar historical experiences. Then Robert then emphasized the environmental effect on administrative behavior. He believed that public administration cannot escape the effect of national, psychological, and social, political, and cultural environment in which it develops. In this word, the comparative aspect of public administration have largely been ignored, and as long as the study of public administration is not comparative, claims for a science of public administration sounds rather hollow. Then the study of public administration uh, inevitable must become a much more broadly based discipline, resting not on a narrowly defined knowledge of technique and process, but rather extended to the varying historical, sociological, economic, and other conditioning force. Then we'll start with the fourth stage, that is crisis of identity, 1948-1970. With the rejection of politics, administration, autonomy, and principles of administration, public administration suffered from the crisis of identity. See, अब जैसे ये political administration did not see and the principle of administration, public administration suffered from the crisis of identity. ये क्या है? Scholars of public administration, they reacted in two ways. अब दो तरीके क्या थे वो? Some of them return to the fold of political science, the mother science. कुछ लोग क्या हुए? They return to the fold of political science, the mother science. However, they were not encouraged by political scientists. क्या है यहाँ पे? They were not encouraged by a political scientist. John Goss, in his article entitled "Trend in the Theory of Public Administration," developed the thesis that a theory of public administration means in our time a theory of politics also. See, John Gassou in his article उन्होंने लिखा ट्रेंड इन द थ्योरी ऑफ पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन 1950, उन्होंने उसमें थीसिस वगैरह लिखे. उस थीसिस के हिसाब से क्या है? अ थ्योरी ऑफ पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन मीन्स इन आवर टाइम द थ्योरी ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स ऑल्सो. Further, Roscoe Martin in his 1952 article called for continued. Further क्या है? Roscoe Martin in 1952 उसके आर्टिकल में he called for a continued dominion of political science over public administration. He called for dominion of public science over public administration. Then some others moved towards the administrative science. तो क्या हो गया? कुछ other they moved towards the administrative science. They argued that administration is administration irrespective of its setting. See, वो लोग क्या आर्ग्यू करते हैं? एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन क्या है? ये एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ही रहेगा इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ इट्स सेटिंग. फिर उसका सेटिंग कुछ भी रहो, कैसे भी रहो, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन विल ऑलवेज बी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. दे फाउंडेड द जर्नल ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव साइंस quarterly in 1956. What happened here? They founded the Journal of Administrative Science quarterly in 1956. The major work influenced by this perspective are Organization 1958 by March and Simon. The major work influenced by this perspective are Organization 1958 by March and Simon. Behavioral Theory of the Firm 1963 by Citrust and March. See, Behavioral Theory of the Firm 1963 by Citrust and March. Handbook of Organization 1965 by March and the Organization in Action 1967 by J.D. Thompson. See, Handbook of Organization 1965 by March and Organization in Action 1965 by J.D. Thompson. However, in both cases, either towards political science or administrative science, public administration lost its separate identity and distinctiveness, and it had to merge with the larger field. See, दोनों केसेस में क्या हो गया? दिस पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन वॉट लॉस्ट इट्स सेपरेट आइडेंटिटी. उनका जो एक सेपरेट आइडेंटिटी था वो चला गया एंड डिस्टिंक्टनेस, एंड इट हैड टू मर्ज विद द लार्जर फील्ड. और अब क्या हो गया? इट मर्ज विद द लार्जर फील्ड. दिस इज व्हाई दिस स्टेज इन द इवोल्यूशन ऑफ पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इज कॉल्ड द स्टेज ऑफ क्राइसिस ऑफ आइडेंटिटी. इसलिए इस स्टेज को, ये जो स्टेज ऑफ पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इवोल्यूशन का, उसको उन्होंने बोला है स्टेज ऑफ क्राइसिस ऑफ आइडेंटिटी. यहाँ पे पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन अलग वगैरह ऐसा कुछ नहीं है बोल के बोला गया है. Further, various development took place during this phase of the evolution of public administration. They are rise of new human relation approach, advocated by Christ Agrini, Douglas M. Georgin, Renzi Lightbird, Warren Bensi, and others. See, rise of new human relation approach. It was advocated by Price Agri, Douglas McGeorge, Renzi Little, Von Bennis, and others. Growth of comparative public administration, advocacy of ecological approach to the study of public administration by F.W. Riggs. See, advocacy of ecological approach to the study of public administration by F.G.F.W. Riggs. Conceptualization of development administration by Edward Webner. See, conceptual of development administration by Edward Webner, F. W. Riggs, and others. Crystallization of the concept of administrative development by F. W. Riggs. Emergence of new public administration, advocacy of public choice approach by Vincent Ostrom and others. Rise of critical perspective of public administration. Now moving towards the stage 5, public policy perspective, 1971 continuing. The main theme of this final stage of evolution is the concern for public policy analysis. See, यहाँ पे क्या है, द मेन थीम इन दिस फाइनल स्टेज ऑफ इवोल्यूशन, यहाँ पे द मेन थीम क्या है ऑफ इवोल्यूशन इज द कंसर्न फॉर पब्लिक पॉलिसी एनालिसिस. Public administrations are showing much interest in the related fields of policy, political economy, policy making, and policy analysis, and so on. Public administration, यहाँ पे क्या दिख रहे हैं, they are showing much interest in the related field of policy science, political economy, policy making, and policy analysis, and so on. Public policy approach got acceptance in administrative analysis as the traditional idea of politics administration dichotomy was abandoned. Public policy approach क्या है, got acceptance, उनका importance कब रहा, उनको acceptance कब दिया in administrative analysis as a traditional idea of political administration dichotomy was abandoned. Dwight Waldo concluded that the separation between politics and administration had become an outworn credo. See, Dwight Waldo, उसने क्या conclude किया, that the separation between politics and administration had become an outworn credo. According to Robert T. Golbach-Chiscu, the public policy approach stage in the evolution of public administration is built upon two basic themes. See, according to रॉबर्ट टी गॉल्बेस्क्यू, ये जो पब्लिक पॉलिसी अप्रोच स्टेज है इन द इवोल्यूशन ऑफ पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, इट इज बेसिकली ऑफ टू बेसिक थीम्स, दो बेसिक थीम्स पे है. द इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ पॉलिसीज एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑल एट ऑल और मैनी लेवल. फर्स्ट वन क्या है, एक तो इंटरपेनिट्रेशन ऑफ पॉलिसीज एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एट ऑल और मैनी लेवल. सेकेंड क्या है, द प्रोग्रामेटिक कैरेक्टर ऑफ ऑल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. Second है the programmatic character of all administration. Then in all these themes directed attention in public administration towards political and policy making processes as well as towards specific public program. See, all these themes क्या है, उन्होंने attention towards the public administration लाया, towards policy making process, और ये सारा चला विद स्पेसिफिक पब्लिक प्रोग्राम. विद द अडॉप्शन ऑफ पब्लिक पॉलिसी अप्रोच पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन हैज बिकम इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी. सी, विद द अडॉप्शन ऑफ पब्लिक पॉलिसी अप्रोच क्या है, पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन हैज बिकम इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी, गेन्ड इन सोशल रिलेवेंस एंड एक्सपांडेड इट्स स्कोप. सी, और उसको एक सोशल रिलेवेंस मिला और उनका स्कोप भी एक्सपांड हुआ, मतलब एक इम्पोर्टेंस मिलके उनका भी अच्छा खासा स्कोप बढ़ा. नाउ मूविंग टूवर्ड्स द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, दैट इज द नेचर ऑफ पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. नेचर डिटर्मिनेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन एनी डिस्कशन. सी, आप कुछ भी डिस्कस करो, क्या डिस्कस कर रहे हो, उसका नेचर क्या रहेगा, कैसे रहेगा, वो इम्पोर्टेंट है ना, वो समझना करना इम्पोर्टेंट है ना, राइट। अभी आपको पता नहीं है आप क्या काम कर रहे हो, कैसे कर रहे हो, तो उसका इम्पोर्टेंस कुछ रहेगा क्या? नहीं। तो क्या डिटरमाइन करना है ये समझना सबसे पहले ज़रूरी है इन एनी ऑफ द डिस्कशन. So scholars have become into two groups to determine the nature of public administration. तो scholars क्या हो गए, दो ग्रुप में बढ़ गए ताकि वो ये जो so that they can determine the nature of public administration. From the two perspective, they have explained the nature of public administration. See, from the two perspective, what they have did, they have explained the nature of public administration. These are mentioned two doctrines such as, see, there are mentioned two doctrines such as the integral view. According to this view, administration is the sum total of all the activities, manual, clerical, technical, managerial, etc., which are undertaken to realize the objective in view. See, अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस व्यू क्या है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन क्या है, ये पूरा इट इज़ अ सम टोटल ऑफ ऑल द एक्टिविटी, जो भी एक्टिविटी करते हो उसका ये पूरा टोटल है, फिर वो मैनुअल हो, क्लरिकल हो, टेक्निकल हो, मैनेजरल हो, एक्सेट्रा, जो भी आप काम करते हो वो किसी एक ऑब्जेक्टिव से करते हो ना, तो जो भी आप काम करते हो किसी ऑब्जेक्टिव से, दैट इज नोन एज द एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव. If we accept the integral view, all the aspects of the officials of government, from the peon in the remote office to the secretary to government and head of the state at the capital, constitute public administration. See, see, अब क्या बोल रहे हैं, अभी अगर आप ये सारा एक्सेप्ट करो कि जो भी आप करना एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव वर्क क्या है, इट्स सम टोटल एक्टिविटी है, तो जो भी एक्शन जो बड़े ऑफिसर्स लेंगे, राइट, फ्रॉम द प्यून इन द रिमोट ऑफिस टू द सेक्रेटरी टू द गवर्नमेंट, इन सब का क्या है, दे ऑल कॉन्स्टिट्यूट, सारा काम मिला के पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव नाम दे रहे हैं. स्टैंड टू सपोर्ट ऑफ दिस व्यू इज LD वाइट. अभी इसको अच्छे से सपोर्ट किसने किया है, ये व्यू सारा किसने सपोर्ट किया है, इट इज सपोर्टेड बाय LD वाइट. In his opinion, public administration comprise all types of operation undertaken by all people ranging from the lowest to the highest in order to implement public policy. In his opinion क्या है, public administration it comprise to the highest in order to the implement public policy. Acceptance of this view makes the scope of public administration vast and unwidely because it includes a heterogeneous mass of activity. See, acceptance of this view, ये व्यू एक्सेप्ट करना, उसका स्कोप एक्सेप्ट करना, ये बहुत बड़ा है. क्यों? बिकॉज इट इंक्लूड्स अ हेट्रोजेनियस मास ऑफ एक्टिविटी. Then second one is the managerial view. According to this view, administration comprise the work of only those persons who are engaged in performing managerial function in an organization. See, according to this view क्या है, administration comprise the work of, administration क्या है, ये वो वर्क है जो पर्सन लेते हैं जो उस काम में के एक्सपर्ट हो, जो मैनेजरल लेवल के फंक्शन कर रहे हैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, उन्हीं को आप एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन वर्क बोल रहे हो यहाँ पे. If we take the managerial view, public administration focus principally on the planning, organizing, directing, controlling, coordinating of government operations. See, अगर आप मैनेजरल व्यू देखोगे तो मैनेजरल फंक्शन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव, पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव बेसिकली किस पे फोकस करता है, इट फोकस ऑन द प्लानिंग, ऑर्गेनाइजिंग, डायरेक्टिंग, कंट्रोलिंग एंड कोऑर्डिनेटिंग ऑफ गवर्नमेंट ऑपरेशन. The work concerned with management units and controls the activities of all others as part of a coordinated endeavors in an enterprise. See, the work concerned with management units and controls the activity of all other as part of coordinated endeavors in an enterprise. This view regarding administration as getting things done, not doing things. See, this view regards administration as getting things done, not doing things. Luther Clucci write, administration has to do with getting things done with the accomplishment of defined objectives. So लूथर क्लूसिक राइट क्या लिखते हैं, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन क्या है, हैज टू डू विथ गेटिंग थिंग्स डन with the accomplishment of defined objectives. This view therefore exclude from the purview of public administration non-managerial activities such as manual, clerical and technical activities. See, this view therefore क्या है, exclude from the purview of public administration non-managerial activity such as manual, clerical and technical activity. The managerial view gives unity to administration. See, the managerial view क्या है, ये एक यूनिटी देती है to administration. Herbert Simon, Smithberg and Thomas are other important supporter of this view. See, other supporter कौन है इस view के, Herbert Simon, Smithberg and Thompson are other important supporter of this view. Policy making and implementation. American writes James W. Pressler has researched at different times to determine the nature of public administration. See, American writer James W. Pressler has researched at different times. उन्होंने अलग अलग टाइम पे रिसर्च किया so that they can come up with the nature of public administration. Right? According to his research, the actual nature of public administration has cleared to us. See, उनके रिसर्च के हिसाब से क्या है, ये जो एक्चुअल नेचर ऑफ पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन क्या है, हैज़ बिन क्लियर टू अस. In other words, he believed that public administration is policy formulation and policy implementation. See, in other words क्या है, वो क्या बिलीव करते हैं, ये पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन क्या है, इज अ पॉलिसी फॉर्मुलेशन एंड पॉलिसी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. Then Pressler especially considers policy formulation than policy implementation. See, Pressler किसको इम्पोर्टेंस दे रहा है, पॉलिसी फॉर्मुलेशंस को देना है, देन इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. राइट, अगर आप पॉलिसी अच्छे से बनाओगे तब भी तो आप इम्प्लीमेंट अच्छे से कर पाओगे. अगर आपने पॉलिसी गलत बनाई तो आप इम्प्लीमेंट भी अच्छे से कर पाओगे क्या, नहीं कर पाओगे. बिकॉज ही थिंक्स दैट पॉलिसी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन because he thinks that policy implementation will fail if policy formulation is improper. बराबर है ना, पॉलिसी इम्प्लीमेंट फेल हो जाएगा अगर आपका फॉर्मुलेशन ही गलत हो गया. तो अगर फॉर्मुलेशन सही होगा तभी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन भी सही होगा, ऑब्वियसली ना. ही सेज टू डिस्कस डिटेल before making the law through legislative accordance with the constitution. He says to discuss detail before making the law through legislative accordance with the constitution. Public administration is a government administration. See, public administration क्या है, ये government administration है. So its work is done by human welfare. तो ये काम कौन करेगा पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में, ह्यूमन ही करेगा ना. तो क्यों करते हैं, ताकि हर सबका भलाई हो. सो इट इज़ डन फॉर ह्यूमन वेलफेयर. प्रॉफिट जनरेटिंग डजंट सर्व इट्स मेन पर्पस. से प्रॉफिट मिलना मेन पर्पस रहता है क्या, नहीं. प्रॉफिट जनरेटिंग इज द नॉट द मेन पर्पस, बट लोगों की सेवा करना, दिस इज द मेन पर्पस. इट्स पर्पस एंड आइडियल्स should be stood on behalf of maximum social and state welfare. See, its purpose and idea, ये किसके लिए रहना चाहिए, it should be for social and state welfare. right, उनका जो भी आइडिया है, जो भी मकसद है, वो किसके लिए होना चाहिए, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा सोसाइटी के लिए और स्टेट की भलाई के लिए होना चाहिए. पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन वर्क्स टू कीप पीपल्स इंटरेस्ट. पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन क्या करना चाहिए, लोगों की इंटरेस्ट के लिए करना चाहिए, लोगों की भलाई के लिए करना चाहिए. सो ब्यूरोक्रेट्स हैव टू ट्रांसपेरेंट एंड अकाउंटेबल इन वर्क फॉर पीपल्स इंटरेस्ट. सो ब्यूरोक्रेट्स क्या है, वो जो भी काम करें वो ट्रांसपेरेंटली करें, और जो भी वो लोगों की भलाई के लिए करें. जो भी काम करें ट्रांसपेरेंटली करना है और लोगों की भलाई के लिए करना है. The government should be neutral to the administration, although that government is political. See, द गवर्नमेंट कैसा चाहिए, द गवर्नमेंट शुड बी न्यूट्रल टू द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन। भले ही वो गवर्नमेंट वो पॉलिटिकली काम कर रहा हो, भले वो पॉलिटिकली काम करे, बट इट शुड बी न्यूट्रल। After that, Flessler says to implement the policy after policy making. See, after that, Flessler क्या बोलता है? He should implement the policy after policy making. His opinion that decide on a paper is the phase of policy determination. See, his opinion, उनका जो opinion है, that decides on paper is the phase of policy determination. If those decisions does not implement properly, it will become valueless. See, अगर जो भी डिसीजन लिया है अगर वो प्रॉपरली इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं हुआ तो क्या होगा, इट विल बी वैल्यूलेस, उसका कुछ भी इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं रहेगा, उसका कुछ भी नहीं रहता इम्पोर्टेंस। विल वाइंड अप अवर लेक्चर हियर। इन नेक्स्ट लेक्चर विल बी स्टडिंग द नेचर ऑफ पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन। थैंक यू।